Welcome to Worlds Collide, a wrestling card podcast for wrestling fans by wrestling fans, featuring Tony Vella from WrestlingTradingCards.com.
This is like a stock market.
And Zhan Morning from Wrestling with Cards on YouTube. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer, I'm just posing the question. Join them as they navigate the world of wrestling cards, helping you build a bigger and better collection and making some money along the way. What's up, wrestling fans, trading card collectors? This isn't Wrestling with Cards, it's Worlds Collide. I use like the similar intro for both of them. Tony, what's up?
What's going on with you, Zhan?
Not much. Kind of calling an audible today. I know I told you that, we usually plan our shows out in advance. We were going to do a different topic. And we've got, some bigger news and stuff kind of popping off on Twitter. So I figured we would talk a little bit about price changes with PSA and grading companies, trying to get through to HGA. And then I'm seeing a lot more modern wrestling cards being flashed around on social media, which is exciting. So let's start with PSA. And as most of you know, there are millions of cards backlogged and they've raised their prices, but everybody's complaining and got their pitchforks out and their torches. But how does this really affect wrestling cards? What's your thoughts?
Is it really everybody complaining about it? I actually seen some pretty positive things about it on some YouTube episodes where guys are saying why this is a good thing.
I've seen both. I think I've seen more negative than positives.
Yeah. My first reaction was, whoa, why? Now I just, it's kind of pricing me out right now, but I don't know. I understand why they're doing it, and I think it's probably for the better for the industry. But as someone who's relatively new to it, I guess it affects me a little more than others because I'm new to going, whoa, I just got into it at this price. Now you're already double the price. And, but I'm also not submitting anything I think that I need to have back immediately either. So I'm kind of like, I'm okay waiting.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am specifically with wrestling cards. Most of the people that are throwing a fit about this are all modern sports cards and stuff that needs quick turnaround. I would say out of all of my submissions, I maybe send in like 1 to 2% of everything I send in is anything modern sports. Most of it's all either old sports or old wrestling. And both of those, I really don't care when I get them back. So
yeah, everything I said to PSA so far, I've only done 2 submissions, is all older stuff, nothing modern.
Yeah, we're not. And I'm not in any hurry. Even if it's stuff that I plan to sell, I'm not in any hurry to get it back. It just gets here when it gets here.
Whereas with HGA, everything I sent them was all modern stuff.
Interesting. And we'll get to HGA in 1 second. So as far as PSA is raising the prices, they're kind of what most of the people in the hobby look at as the gold standard of grading. We've also seen SGC raise their prices. Beckett's now raised their prices. How do you think all of the price increases going to affect just grading in general with wrestling cards?
I don't know if it's going to affect anything. I don't think the raising the prices is affecting grading at all. I think it's just more about slowing the submissions down, isn't it? I
think so, but I've also seen, again, this is also coming from different avenues of cards, whether it's sports or TCGs or whatever. A lot of people are saying, well, I'll just stick with raw cards now because they just, the whole process has just gotten to become a sham to a lot of people in their opinion.
A sham in the sense that the grading is not
not accurate. Why am I paying for inaccurate grading when it doesn't get back to me within a year? Why should I pay the increased pricing for inaccurate grading? Like I just saw earlier before we got on here, PSA had a Fleer Jordan rookie.
I saw that.
PSA 4 that crossed to a BGS 8, and I'm just like, what the heck?
Yeah, that's a huge difference right there. Like, why?
Yeah. So another thing on this, we talk about the price increase, and I don't care what grading company you want to talk about, is margins. Like, so they raised the price. What was it, like $12 a card or something like that if you had the subscription?
Yes.
20? Okay, so $8 a card. Like, I'm easily going to be able to make that back on anything that I'm reselling. So it's not stopping me from sending in cards at all. This is no hindrance to me whatsoever.
Not that level. What was the price increase for the Express and things of that nature? I
think Express went up to like $100, and like Super Express was like $300. Which if you've got $1,000 to $3,000 card, like couple $100 increase isn't going to stop me personally.
Yeah, I don't see it going to be stopping. And there's still no cap. There's no limit to how many you can send in.
Not that you can send in. They actually even lowered the cap on. So it used to be like 20 cards minimum on the value bulk stuff, and now it's only 10.
Oh, so I can only send 10 now. Okay.
Yeah. So you can actually send in less cards and spend about the same amount of money you were spending, or you can keep sending in what you were sending. I personally don't think this is going to slow anybody down that's, in this thing for the long haul.
It'd be interesting to hear people's comments as they start submitting things to see like, well, you know what? I'm just going to send the same stuff I'm sending in before. No stopping me.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah. I see pros and cons to both, but that's just kind of my take on it. And speaking of raising prices, let's go right into another grading company that's getting tons of love now because they haven't raised their prices yet, and they're getting the cards back when 10 days means 10 days. HGA. And Tony, I'm going to let you kind of take the floor on this because you've one of the few people who've successfully got an order in. Meanwhile, like I'm still waiting in the soup kitchen line.
And my luck was by luck. It really was. It was a Friday submission. I decided to check. I didn't even bother. I didn't bother going in at that initial opening. So an hour after the opening was already open, I just checked because I saw someone's post, or I saw HGA post like, hey, we fixed our problems. Please go ahead and jump back in. I saw the post was like 3 minutes old. And I go, oh, I just go jump in and see what the hell's going on. I jumped in. It said there was 350 submissions subs available. So I said, okay, went to the next step. Oh, okay, still 330, now 330. Next step, there's 275. Next step, 155. My final step, submissions, there was 35 cards left. I was done. I got in. It was through.
Amazing. And the website didn't break.
It didn't crash on me. I had no refresh, no error messages, nothing. And I was like, I can't believe I just got in. I'm just sitting here at the fire pit out in the backyard. And I just happened to get through. Oh my God.
Yeah. And we'll just briefly touch on HGA. I keep going back and forth on how I feel about them. I think their slabs are great. I think limiting the cards that are coming in is really excellent because, I'm not complaining about getting my cards in. Like if I don't make it, I don't make it. That's cool. But, the website breaks and then they have a queue line or whatever. And then somehow it ends up causing other problems. And that's just kind of
when you get first, you go into the waiting room.
Yeah.
And then from the waiting room, you're randomized a number to make it fair.
Which is okay, but at what point does that break too?
Of course. And I know the conspiracy people are like, well, who's to say it's really randomized or this, that, and the other, or what's this? What do they offer? They offer some kind of like a discount or a token or some kind of if you have a discount code or a priority code or something like that.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, there's a priority code you can enter in as well. And I'm like, okay, what's the priority code get me then? Do I get the front of the line or what's going on? So I'm not quite sure. I mean, I get the idea. I understand the logic behind having to do a randomized thing. It's almost like going to Comic Cons now when you go to San Diego. You're randomly selected to buy a ticket kind of thing. You just can't go buy a ticket anymore because it's such a big deal.
Right.
So it's a lot of good for them. It shows that they're very popular. People want to use their service. I just think as they're still new and as they grow, I think they'll figure out these issues they have, and I think it'll get better. And I'm interested in seeing that the slabs are what attracted to me.
Right. Same.
So I really want to see, and I didn't send anything vintage, although I should have sent in some 87 tops would look really cool in that, or even an 85 tops card would look kind of cool in that,
Yeah.
No, I sent all really modern stuff, like all 2020 release stuff. I think
those stuff will look really nice in those slabs.
I sent in, I think, four undisputed cards, and one finest and one chrome,
Awesome.
something like that. But I want to see what they look like.
Right.
And
did you go with the 60-day service?
I went with the 60-day service. Yeah, just to try them out with the 60-day service. Yeah, it is.
Well, hopefully we'll get those back in 60 days.
But the process is very similar to doing through PSA, although I will say it was much simpler and easier to do it.
That's good.
the process for PSA is they are so strict on how they want you to send things in. So for like a newbie like myself, I was very like, oh God, I hope I'm doing this right. Okay, double check, triple check, quadruple check, making sure they're in the right order and all that, because they're going to charge me if I don't do that. And there's all these different charges if I don't do things. Whereas HGA was just pretty much saying, please put them in the order in which your submission form is. It could delay your processing. There's nothing mentioned about you're going to be charged.
Right.
And it was just like, do this. You could send them in cards, sleeves, or card savers or top loaders. They didn't care.
That's a big deal because card savers are hard to find now. If you do find them, they're really expensive.
Speaking of, because it has to do with PSA, I just got my package in that I ordered back in the beginning of February. I just got my package of my card savers from them yesterday.
Interesting.
All the way from Santa Ana, California.
Wow. So one thing I want to talk about HGA, and this has kind of discouraged me from continuing to try. Not only do I feel like I'm going to just not get in because like I absolutely love the fact that they're limiting their intake. Like that's a brilliant idea. And I'm not complaining about like, oh, they're only taking 2,000 or they're only taking 3,000. It's the fact that they set it up like that, but then they don't have a website to incorporate that. And then like, who's to say bots aren't being used? Like there's all different kinds of interesting internet related things that is causing frustration. And I also keep finding myself, I had an order ready to go. I told you like a month ago.
Yeah.
Well, I've slowly been pulling cards out of that to either sell raw or other things, which I can talk about later. I've got interesting things that I'm using these cards for. And I'm just finding myself with this dwindled stack. And I'm just like, you know what? Why am I even messing with this anymore? I might as well just keep submitting with PSA. And to pile on to that, I've recently heard some interesting things about their grading, that they don't actually have AI because they've yet to prove anything. And that I've also seen some of their grading on the subgrades. There's 4 different subgrades.
Mm-hmm.
I saw I think it was let me think. I think it was like an 8, a 9, and 2 9.5s or 3 9.5s, something like that. And it added up to like an 9.5 or something. Like the math was so wrong.
The math was really, I know the one you're talking about. I think there was a 6 on one of them with or maybe an 8 with a 9, a 9, and 9.5.
Yeah. So maybe
you only had one of the grading requirements at a 9.5, yet the whole card graded 9.5.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes no, and I understand they may value like surface or edges over corners or something at some of the other grading companies, but it's basic math. Mm-hmm. And that just kind of makes me question what they do. Does that?
But I think there's also a multiplier on one of those that actually helps.
Probably that would make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, and I think as they continue to keep growing, their website needs to be a little bit more specific with all that's going on, because a lot of interesting questions and interesting points that people are making, not both on Twitter, on their own Facebook page, and there's an HGA Slabs Facebook group that I'm a member of as well, where a lot of discussion goes on there. But they bring a lot of interesting points that, hey, how do I know what your requirements are? What really qualifies for this? You're not really being. And so I think they're addressing those things. They're going to have them on their website soon.
Okay, well,
I'm hoping. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like I'm the voice of like, oh, I'm all pro HGA. I mean, nothing has distracted me from wanting to continue to keep doing business with them. But I'm still going to be probably using PSA as my go-to going forward.
Yeah, and let me be clear. Like, I'm all for other companies. I was super heavy on SGC when they came out in the middle of the pandemic stuff, and I absolutely love the slabs, but I also learned that apparently nobody wants them, because I've got cards in SGC slabs that the same exact grade in a PSA, could get X, where the one that I have in the same grade in SGC slab, nobody even wants. So I learned my lesson there.
And from an established company as well, too. And I've noticed people doing side-by-side comparisons with the HGA and PSA, and they're holding about the same value.
Yeah.
Which is incredible, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. And then you've got, what's that other one? Is it
the new one, CGA or CGA?
Yeah, the one that does coins.
Yes, and comics.
Yeah, I would like to see them succeed too, but their slabs are hideous.
It's a huge, isn't it like a huge tag in there? It's like someone I think commented like, reduce the tag by 25%, you might have something attractive.
Yeah, I just like, so I'm all for these new companies, but they just, I mean, it's almost like they're behind the 8 ball right out of the gate because of one specific thing or another. So,
And usually it's just about submissions. I would think it's just some of these companies can't handle the volume. It's what do you think that says about the market overall? That so many different companies still can't handle the volume.
I'm not sure, actually. I think overall it's awesome. I I just hope that, I think for wrestling cards, which is what we're mainly talking about, I think it's fantastic. There's, because I mean, you could talk about some of these other modern sports or TCGs and stuff like that that maybe have like a super high pop count. Like everybody wants to talk about Zion, so I'll say like a Zion PSA 10 base. I think there's like 15,000 PSA 10s. There may not be 15,000 Hogan rookies, period.
Period. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I still think that wrestling is super safe, even modern stuff, because we all talk about how Topps overprints everything, but even modern Topps product is nothing in comparison print wise to modern sports.
Correct.
It just isn't.
Yep.
And speaking of modern,
the market seems to be smaller for it, but I think more people are getting into it.
speaking of that, let's talk some modern. We've had since the last time we've talked, we've had Topps Living set start. We've seen there's a new women's division set that's announced today that's supposed to be coming out. That's like a 1 pack per box thing. So that's interesting.
But it's 1 pack of 60 cards.
Right. Yeah. Which is weird.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting. Then I'm seeing a lot of people like starting to flash around Bray Wyatt cards and, Bailey, Charlotte Flair, stuff like that, which is super exciting to me. I've also even ran into a couple Daniel Bryan player collectors in the past few months. So it's awesome to see player collectors. And even though I'm not as into the modern stuff, I still think it's awesome, and I love hearing talk about it. So have you been seeing any of that, or what's your thoughts?
I have. I've been seeing, you mentioned Daniel Bryan, because, hey, I got the Wrestling Guy store now collecting Daniel Bryan cards.
I sent him some way after your episode on WTC.
Yeah. I've been seeing some Daniel Bryan, but yeah, you're right. I've been seeing a lot more modern stuff, especially the women. I don't see a whole lot of like Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins type stuff. I've been seeing the Bray Wyatt. I've been seeing a lot of Charlotte Flair stuff. Trying to think of who else I've been seeing. But yeah, more modern stuff, which is exciting. And I'm kind of a little more into that than you are, I think. And just that, but I don't know how to navigate. So it's kind of interesting to see what people are talking about, what they're looking to submit. And having just submitted some stuff myself, I'm interested in seeing how that stuff turns out, because I don't plan on to keep it. I do plan on flipping it. That's my goal with that. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
So what do you think of?
I like it though.
What do you think of Topps Living set that started? That's kind of been one of the big topics lately.
I was so wishy-washy about wanting it, and I didn't join. I just couldn't see spending, what is it, $40 a month?
Oh, I'm not doing the subscription. I'm just I'm cherry picking cards.
Yeah, I didn't do any of it. I thought about, I'll pick up the Undertaker one, and like, nah, there's so many of it I can pick it on the secondary market for at or about the price they were selling it for online anyways.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find the print runs really quick.
Yeah, Taker was number 3. Stone Cold's number 1. Trish was number 2. I believe that's how it was.
Yep. Trish was number 2, Undertaker 3, Jeff Hardy 4, and Maurice at number 5.
Yeah, Maurice almost took over Jeff Hardy.
But this is what I want to, we were just talking about pop reports. This is what I want to talk about. Stone Cold Steve Austin, your highest ranked card, right? Only 5,500.
Correct.
So you start grading those, you're shrinking that population even down further.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I think wrestling cards are safe with grading.
Especially when you have a modern print run of a vintage or an old school classics guy.
Correct. And
so I'm still going to hold value.
I'm still shocked they were that low. I thought they'd be higher than that.
I thought they'd be double that.
Yeah. Which
I really did.
Opens up another question of like, still, why are wrestling fans not flocking to wrestling cards?
I know.
I wonder if we're going to have.
I do see that market growing though, as we both have seen it. We're seeing more people kind of dipping their toes into the wrestling world, going, hey, what's all this stuff I used to make fun of 5, 10, 15 years ago? So I can make money in that market. So you have people coming in looking to make money. And you also have people coming in going, wait, there's wrestling cards who don't even know.
There's also a combination of the two. I've met a lot of people. They're like, I can make money on this. Well, now that I have this, I don't want to sell it.
Correct. You know, like
'Cause
me, I finally just figured out what I want to do. I'm becoming a player collector for the first time now. So
yes.
I'm just, and thank you so much for what you sent me. I was really
Yeah, no
appreciate
problem.
that. So I'm doing the Kurt Angle stuff now. So
There you go. So
I'm
everybody
going.
that's got Kurt Angle cards, send them in to us.
Yeah, I got I've been all over eBay looking at stuff, and I'm like, oh, I missed out on that one. Oh, I missed out on that one.
Yep.
Like I hate this feeling again.
I love it. I love the chase. But
Yeah.
anything else you want to talk about as far as grading or modern stuff before we get out of here today?
No, well, how long do you think is there going to be possible? Is this going to be the new price point? Do you think they'll go back when they catch up? Because there's been
No.
talk about that. You're going to stick at this, correct? Right?
Yeah. Why would they? The demand's too high.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I mean, but there are people who've been chattering like, you know, oh, they're not going to go back to the old price when they get caught up. And I'm like thinking to myself, no, why would they?
Yeah. Why would they? And they've got themselves such a cushion at this point with just money as far as like being able to operate the company. Like that, you know, 10 million card backlog or whatever, and they raise prices. They're good.
Yeah.
They're good to get themselves situated for a year or two, and then maybe change something else.
Do you think they're going to raise prices again in 2 years?
Wouldn't
3
surprise
years?
me. But I think honestly, I think all the price increase is going to do is inflate the already graded cards. Or if you have it already sent into grade, it's just going to kick those up in value. So what you would have been able to sell a $100 card for may end up being a $200 card based just on the inflation of the pricing.
You think collectors care about that?
Some do, some don't. I think some people
as a seller myself, taking a graded card, you know, the more I invest in it and getting that card graded, is that really going to translate into a collector paying me more for it?
Authenticity, and it's easier to know what you're getting when you sell it.
The authenticity doesn't change at $20 as opposed to $12.
Oh no, but I mean, it's not going to be there. I guess that's what I'm saying is once again, you know, grading creates that scarcity, and there's only so many of them out there.
Got it.
So that's what I think. Now, of course, you know, the market has to keep increasing too, and I think it will slow down. Some people sending in just junk, maybe.
Yeah, I think the junk will go away, but your stars and your legends and your veterans will get. Like I saw that was it that Luca card went for 4 point something million, and someone made a comment going, "The dude's 23 years old, man." I mean, the guy's he's one ankle injury away from being a $44 card.
Yeah. Yep.
And so it's why it's always like in wrestling, you know, your Hogans, your Rocks, your Andres, your Flairs, those are your bankable guys. I mean, it's because I'm not worried about them getting injured. And
no, and they're pop culture.
Correct.
Yep. And then if you want to buy modern stuff, you're playing with penny stocks, so your downside risk is next to nothing.
Yep, exactly.
That's why I think wrestling cards are you can't lose no matter which way you go.
Yep, it's no brainer, man.
All right, thanks guys for checking us out today. Tony, tell everybody where they can find you.
Everything's under WrestlingTradingCards.com.
Easy enough.
Easy enough.
Mine's a little bit more spread out. Wrestling with Cards on YouTube, and just search Zhan Morning on all social platforms. Make sure to subscribe to the show today. Share it with all your friends. Let's get more people involved in wrestling cards. Until next time, see ya.
See ya.